So we just got major breaking news with two ETFs that I absolutely love. And of course, it has to do with the fact that their distribution's actually coming up. Now, the first one that we're going to cover didn't really have an increase in distribution. However, the second one had a massive one. In fact, they basically are giving out the most amount of dividends pretty much ever this distribution round. So we're going to cover that. And if you guys hold these two ETFs that we're going to talk about, really pat yourself in the back, especially that second one. And honestly, I really want to tell everybody a little bit of an insight as to what I am planning to do in the future with that second ETF. But let's actually get started with this. Now, for all of those of you who do not know, I love ETFs, right? Dividend ETFs are absolutely incredible. Not only are they very low risk in general, they also just have a really good tendency to pay out dividends. Now, not all of them are, I guess, as consistent with dividend distributions as these two are, but the first one, it is a staple, right? It may be underperforming right now, but honestly, it's underperforming because it doesn't have the Mag 7 in it. And I'm talking about, guys, SCHD. Yes, SCHD just had their declaration date today, and we did get the dividend as well. Now, SCHD, everybody talks about SCHD, right? Everybody knows about this so much. I'm not going to go as to what the ETF is or any of that kind of stuff. I mainly want to focus on the fact that they did announce the dividend. In fact, if we come down all the way over here, if we go to distributions, we can actually see that we got the declaration date today. Record date of 9/24, which is, as if I'm recording this, 9/24, and ex-dividend date is ironically enough the same day, 9/24. So unfortunately, by the time you guys see this, it would have already been the 25th, and you can't get this dividend anymore. You're gonna have to wait till December. But we can see that this is going to be paid out on September 29th for 26 cents. Well, 0.2604 cents, or a total of just 26 cents. Now, if we actually take a look at this distribution, we can see that it's practically in line with that of what it was last quarter, right? Last quarter was 2602. And, well, the highest one that we've had so far was last December. So we'll see how much this actually increases in December, because again, they do pay quarterly. So we'll see how much this actually increase in December. Seeing that last December, we got 26 cents or 0.2645 cents. I'm very curious to see if this thing breaks that 27-cent mark. And before you guys say, well, I mean, you know, September of 2024, this was 75, 82. It was a massive drop. Well, they did have a 10-to-1 stock split, or I forgot exactly how much of a stock split. We could take a look at that in just one second. But they did have a stock split, which is why this dividend got quote unquote cut, even though it really didn't. I do believe, though, it was a 10-to-1 split, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is going to be payable on September 29th. Payable September 29th. Yep. However, it says over here, ex-dividend date September 29th, 2025. I don't think that's correct. I do believe that this is I'm gonna trust their website for this, which clearly says ex-dividend 9/24. So yeah, just trust the website for that one. I think Seeking Alpha got that one wrong. But let's actually take a look at SCHD. Now, SCHD has been underperforming this year so far. On the 1 year, they're down 4.21%. Year to date, they're down around 0.6%. Compare this to the NASDAQ. Yeah, they're way under, right? Or even compare that to the Dow Jones. They're way underperforming. However, again, it's underperforming, but it's mainly because they don't have a lot of technology, right? They're mainly geared towards energy, as you guys can see right there, 19.33%. Consumer defensives, 18.54%. We got healthcare at almost 16%, and industrials at 10.5%. Technology guys come in at 10.02. In fact, I don't believe that, when it comes to tech, they basically don't have, in the top 10 holdings, their tech isn't even part of the top 10 holdings. So that's the reason why they're underperforming. Unless you have the NASDAQ, or unless you have the Mag 7, you're going to underperform the S&P 500 and even that of the NASDAQ. Now, when taking a look at this dividends really quickly, we can take a look at the fact that, guys, their 5-year growth rate is 10.87%, 13 consecutive years. I mean, this thing at one point in April, right, during Liberation Day, this dividend went up to like 4.2%. So you did have that opportunity to buy this at a much higher yield. 3.78 though, still very, very respectable. Now, if we take a look at the dividend history, we can see the stock split right here, which was, sorry, it wasn't a 10 for 1. It was a 3 for 1 stock split back in, well, it was almost a year ago, October 11th, 2024. So that's the reason why the dividend is quote unquote smaller when in reality it is not. So that's SCHD. And again, if you guys hold this ETF, if you have 100 shares, you're going to get paid $26 when it comes to this distribution that's coming up. So very, very nice right there. Now the second ETF, guys, and this is the one that I'm really, really excited to talk about because, well, it's one that I've had a massive change of heart with. I am not I originally wasn't a fan of them. However, more and more recently, I started to ease up a little bit on it because I actually really do like it. And I am talking about the ETF QQQI. Now, this ETF is a cover call ETF, so it's not like SCHD, right? So it itself has its own risks associated with it. But, well, I do like this ETF. I really, really do. And again, I've had a change of heart with it. I've come to realize that when it comes to dividend ETFs like this, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter when it comes to taxes because, well, you're still getting the money anyways. You just have to have the responsibility to allocate the percentage that you have to owe in taxes because of the fact that they are a cover call ETF and the dividends that come from this are not, well, they don't have a tax benefit from it. They're not qualified dividends. So just fully understand that. But we did get the distribution announced for QQQI, and it is the highest to date. In fact, let's take a look at this, guys. Let's take a look at this. So when it comes to QQQI, we could see that they did just announce their dividends right here. We got the declaration, right? We got the declaration right here on September 23rd, and their ex-dividend date, which is over here, is today. Unfortunately, as I'm recording this, it is today. By the time you guys see this, it would have already passed. But the payout date is going to be on September 26th for a whopping 64 cents per share. That is tremendous because if you guys take a look at all of these values up top, we got 63, 64, right? Well, I guess that one's a little bit closer, but yeah, rounding it up, 64. I guess that one was the closest, but still 63.66. Then we got 62.82, 63.74, 53.09, 58.67, 61.4, and 62.41. So you guys can see right up there. But this is the first time that we've actually hit that 64 cent mark per share, which is huge. It's absolutely, absolutely huge. Guys, that means that if you have 100 shares of QQQI, you're going to get paid $64 per these 100 shares. And in fact, this actually gives it a much higher yield than what it already is. And the yield's already massive at 13.43%. But if we do the math really quickly, we can actually see that with this increase of dividends at 0.6411, guys, the yield ends up being 14.3%. Absolutely massive, absolutely massive. And then on top of that, when it comes to just overall action, when it comes to this ETF, we can actually see something really, really interesting. The fact that, well, they're actually up 4.34% on the 1 year, and on the year to date, 2.88%. So even beating that of SCHD. And again, this is an ETF that's a covered call ETF. It's strictly geared towards selling covered calls and giving you the distribution. Now, obviously, there is more nuance to that. They do sell out of the money covered calls, which preserves the NAV, the net asset values. So when it comes to that, that is the reason as to why you really don't have NAV decay in QQQI, which is, again, something that's really good because at the end of the day, all you really want, because at the end of the day, you really do want to preserve that overall returns. And other ETFs like your QYLDs do not necessarily do this. And again, I do like QQQI as well as JEPQ as well, but QQQI has a much higher yield when it comes to their overall distributions so far. And when it comes to that, guys, I would just like to give a little bit of a heads up. Right, of a heads up. I did mention this on my dividend update video, portfolio update video a few days ago. However, I would like to give you guys a little bit more of I guess breadcrumbs when it comes to this. I will go into further detail at the end of the month. But as you guys know, because I'm buying a house, right now income is, I want to say, a little bit tight, because with this mortgage that's about to come in, it's basically going to take up a little bit less than half of my 9 to 5 monthly income. Because of that, I have decided to use QQQI to my advantage and my portfolio to my advantage as well. And unfortunately, that does mean massive changes to the portfolio. Now, I'm not going to go into further detail, but I will let you all know that it's happening. And I will get into much further details at the end of September when I do my September portfolio video. So just letting you guys know that. And let me know what you guys think as well when it comes to that in the future, right? In the future. But so far, that was the video for today, guys. I really am excited. The fact that SCHD, okay, kind of stagnant, not really moving, losing overall value. I don't want to say losing overall value, but, you know, it's not performing to the best that it possibly can. Again, the Mag 7 is not in there to the highest degree, which is the reason why. QQQI, though, it tracks the NASDAQ, it sells cover calls, and there's very little NAV decay as well. So I do love the fact that QQQI just basically announced their highest dividend to date. And if you guys hold it, let me know in the comment section below. Really curious to see how much you guys make from it, as well as SCHD. But anyways, guys, that pretty much does it for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Really does help with the algorithm on YouTube, as well as Rumble. Make sure to follow us on X at Fiddle Investing. And of course, if you'd like to join us on the Discord, the link to this in the description below. So with that said, guys, peace out, and we will see you all next time. Have a blessed day.